So what was that one? That was 1 1/8 inches. Seems strange to have odd sizes on. Anyway, never mind. Nut and washer in the box. Next thing, we need to take these bolts off here, 4 bolts in the corners. They are whipped with. Anyway. Got to use an extension in there. Can't quite get into the bottom. GKN. Right, that's those out. So now we can give this a little bit of a tippity tap. Where's my thin bar? Just damn thing keeps going on. These again got a paper gasket on, which is sometimes difficult to break. There we go. Just a bit of a wiggle, it'll all come out. Yeah, I guess I should have taken that piece out, but never mind, it's all come out anyway. It'll be alright on the night. Hop. Now, just a minute before we get too far with ourselves. That's a pretty knackered bearing, we're not using that one before. See how it's all twisted. There's a synchro, 3rd and 4th. Got a bit twisted, but not too bad. Yeah, that's not with me doing that. Look how the synchro hub is twisted. See, it's not square to the bottom. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's concentrate on this bit. See, what's puzzling me is that shaft. Oh, there we go. That's how it comes out. I knew it came up somewhere. You've got to put this gear in at the same time. So this is our lay shaft. This is how it should look. And you can see that the lay shaft actually isn't broken. And to our surprise, there is no damage on these gears here. Even the reverse gear is looking quite good, but we'll replace it, I think. Yeah, I think we've got to get that out of there. I've got a sneaking feeling that we've got to knock those studs out. Let's put a nut on, because I can't remember if the bearing. I'm not using the book on this at all. We're going to knock those studs out, and I'll show you the reason why. I should have got the book out, shouldn't I? No, that won't come out. There, wait a minute, you'll have to keep tapping it on. See, I'm putting the nuts on the end of the studs just to give them a tap. Now, this might not be the right way. There's the retainer for the reverse, for the rear shaft. Give this a tap on the base and see if it's going to tap on. Yeah, that's it. So when we put the bearing in, won't mess about, won't we? Well, obviously when we assemble this we'll do it a different way. Look, we've got to get these forky things out of here. No, retaining bolt. I usually put this in the vise, but seeing I'm sort of looking at you guys, I thought, well, I'll do it like that. Right. So there is our input shaft. We'll leave them in there for now. There's nothing else in there that we need to have a look at. Right. So the next thing, we'll have a look at this casing, and then we'll go around and inspect the bits. So we need to get this last piece out of here. Ooh. Now you can see our issue. This here, why, that's been polished on the end of there. That's the reverse gear idler. I think we've got to take this circlip out of here and knock that out. And because I think that, why is that there in a push fit? I thought it just slid through. Yeah, it does. I've got nothing to lose on this shaft because it's knackered anyway. This is looking interesting. How did that happen? Here's something interesting, boys. Look what happens when I turn the shaft underneath. You know when I said that synchro was bent? The end shaft's bent. How on earth does that happen? There's bits of bearings and all sorts of things. Oh, maybe it's not bent. Maybe it's just misaligned on the... Oh, there, no, that's right. It was just misaligned on the spline. I thought it was bent. Ooh. Those dog teeth here are a bit knackered. This this gear here has some bits missing. Yeah, I think that's I don't think we can use that one again. The bearings are a bit bitty. So sort of that thing would have gone onto that shaft like that. And this is how the sort of gears would have worked. This would have slid backwards and forwards, and locked onto that shaft to drive. So this drives your reverse gear idler, which is in the bottom of here, this thing here. We've got to get that out now. How does that come out? I've got a feeling that just taps out. Here we go. There's my tapper. Tap that piece out. Note the way they go around, like that. Because you see, the first and the reverse drives off the same gear. Like I said, this is just the idler. I think we could find a better one than that. So this can be fixed. It needs a new shaft. I'm just trying to think where that... well, I'm not going to really disassemble this too much because there's not much to disassemble. But I am quite concerned about this this synchro here. This is where it fits. It's like that. Well, you can see how bent it is. That's not good. The only usable gear so far is this one. The first motion shaft's alright. The bearing's not too good. See, this is a problem. I think, even though I said before, once before, that I don't like to, you know, change bearings and put cheap Chinese bearings in if the old ones are good, because this one's had so many bits of metal particles inside that has got ground up and gone into all the bearings. You know, this, you can hear that back bearing's not nice. Yeah, so can we salvage it? Well, we're not going to salvage anything, but it's getting to that point where it's getting a bit expensive. Let's have an inspection of some of the parts. This is the selector fork for 3rd and 4th. This piece fits in here. There's very little play in there, that's just about right. There's no marks on the shafts or anything like that. There's no marks on here. This is the selector that goes on this gear here. Not like that, naturally. Like that. That's okay. Now, in order to change those rings, you've got to take all this lot off. So that's a downside, but we'll do that when we put it all back together again. Now, there's one thing I want to do here is... Oh no, we don't have to do it. Sometimes when you get gearboxes, this interlock pin here sometimes drops out and falls on the floor, but this one, in this case, it doesn't. Reverse. The reverse forks to me always used to look bent, but in fact that's how they're supposed to be. That fits onto there like that, look. So we need one of them. In fact, to tell you the truth, we need an awful lot of bits. We need a shaft. Oh, where's the lay shaft? Let's have a look at this bit here. Let's have an inspection of that one. That bearing might live again if we can't get one. The actual reverse, I've known a lot of these snap off. The beauty about the lay shafts on these things is you could dismantle them all completely. and it had a tube in here, and you could, you know, just pull all the gears off and make a new one. But these are actually quite good. I mean, I think it's because all the problems was with first and second at the back that these are going to be alright. So we, you know, I think we were all thinking that the lay shaft was going to be buggered, and it actually wasn't. It was the other way around. Why was that going like that? Oh, damn it all. Come on. I just want to keep these together. I don't want to make a job of it. God damn it. I'll do that right there. There we go. Right. So, we need some parts. And we need a lot of parts. Now, we haven't opened up the transfer case. You know, there's not a great deal in that transfer case actually to go wrong, because we can already see the gears in there. Once new seals in it, and in another video we'll go through a transfer case and, well, we'll probably strip the bloody thing down as well. But yeah, there's not much in it to go wrong. This here is the bit that's gone wrong. I think we need another gearbox, really, to salvage this. I don't like putting worn gears in. Some of these gears we can get away with, but the straight cut gears and the shaft, obviously we can't get away with the shaft. That was quite deceiving when I was looking at the shaft and I was spinning and it was going all over the place. It's because it was going through the bearing. It was just on its edge of coming out the bearing, and it was quite deceiving. Oh, here, this will probably explain why. See, the size of the diameter of here is slightly larger than this diameter here. So when we took the shaft out, the bearing was half in and half out of there. So that was it. Now, another thing that we've got to change, through a matter of course, is these little springs on here. These are the selectors for your reverse stop. Change those as well. Quite the list. So I'm going to say to Michelle, get us another box, let's pull it apart, let's see what we can find, and before we start to do anything. So, probably the second series of this is, we won't strip any more gearboxes down like this, but what we'll do is we'll gather a list of parts we need, and we'll, from other used gearboxes, and then see if this is salvageable. So anyway, that's sort of a really easy way to get them out. You don't really need all that many special tools. You need quite a bit, because if I mean, look at the bench now. It's like a bomb's falling on it. But you know, it's sort of all there, isn't it? So we'll sign this off now, and then we'll see what happens with the parts.